and welcome to today's lesson. I will try to help you today in relation to verbs in English, and we start very basic and we explain from the beginning the different structures and the different parts of verbs. So I will try to help, and hopefully you have a good idea already, more or less, about this topic. But we will start from the beginning and we will progress to a little more intermediate, and we will also progress to a little more advanced as well. So I hope you enjoy the lesson. The page we are using is from the British Council Grammar page. It's an excellent website and I highly recommend this. If you have a question, please leave your question in the comments. If you want to say something, if you want to interact, please leave your comment in the Facebook page. Okay, let's begin. So here we can see it's the page, as I said, from the British Council, and it's the grammar section. It's excellent. You probably already have a very good understanding of the basics, but I just want to try and help a little and to give you my advice and to give you my tips a little during this explanation. Okay, first, learn about the basic parts of verbs and verb phrases, and also do the exercises to practice them below. Okay, so it's just an explanation of the basic parts of verbs and also the verb phrase, a little technical. So, level beginner. Verbs in English have four basic parts, and this is very important. Four different basic parts of the verb, and you can see here the base, number one at the bottom, the base form. You have the ing form, so you have work. Working is the ing. Ing also is the gerund. In English we say the gerund. I think in Spanish it's gerundio, and in Portuguese it's probably similar as well, gerundio. Italian, French, probably the same. So in English this concept is the ing, and also this is known as the gerund. So that's the second form. The next form is the past simple. So the past tense is another typical form of the verb in general. And then finally, we have the participle. So they're the four important different terms and different parts of a verb, and it's really important because we need to know this all the time. Okay, the base, the ing, and the past, and also the participle. Okay, most verbs in English are regular. Give me one moment, I'll just try to fix this sheet. So most verbs in English are regular. So for example, the most verbs have a past tense and a participle with ed. This is the regular form for the majority of verbs. For example, work, past worked, and participle worked. Play, the base, past played, participle played. Listen, the verb, listened, the past, listened, the participle. This is very foundational, and it's essential that you understand this. Maybe you've never looked at this before, and maybe you're very familiar with this, but many of the most frequent verbs are irregular. So most verbs are regular, but the most frequent verbs are irregular, if you understand. So irregular verbs are big difficulty in English. Irregular verbs are difficult because it's necessary to remember all of the irregular verbs, and we have a lot of irregular verbs and a lot of very common, frequent verbs are irregular. So this is really important, the irregular verbs. So there's the 3 and 4 examples, and this is just repetition. So again, verb phrase. What is a verb phrase? Verb phrase basically is like a clause. Another technical name is a clause. Subject, verb, object. Subject, verb, preposition, subject, verb, adverb. This is a typical clause or a verb phrase. Okay, and basically there's the main form. and this is understandable. So for this example, we are here. We is the subject pronoun, so technical explanation, subject pronoun. The verb is to be, and the present is we are. The past, we were, okay? But the present is we are, and then preposition or maybe adverb is here. We are here, the location. So the main verb of this sentence is to be. No problem. Next, I like it. Subject, I. Main verb, like. It is the object pronoun. No problem. Very easy. Everybody. Everybody is the subject. The verb is to see. In the past, it's irregular. So this is the main verb, but it is irregular in this particular case. Saw. See, saw. The accident is the object of the sentence. Finally, we laughed. This is a verb phrase because there's no object, so it's maybe different from a clause. And the subject is we, and the main verb is to laugh. In the past, regular. We laughed. Okay, very easy, I think. Very simple. Let's continue. The verb can be in the present tense. I am, you are, he is, she is, I like, you like, he likes, etc. So it's possible in the present and it's possible in the past. See, saw, laugh, laughed, to be, was, like, liked. Okay, number 2. The auxiliary verb be and the main verb in the ing form. This is another verb phrase, another structure with the verb to be and the ing. Okay, this is considered the continuous. This is considered the present continuous, the past continuous, or the future continuous when you have the verb to be plus the principal verb in the ing. This combination, this formula is the continuous, past continuous, present continuous, future continuous as well. For example, everybody is watching. Subject, everybody. Subject of the sentence. Subject, pronoun, everybody. Auxiliary, basically extra, auxiliary verb to be in the present is, and the ing or the gerund is watching. This is the present continuous. Second example, we were laughing. Subject we, auxiliary, extra, verb to be. In the past, we were, and the ing form, laughing. We were laughing. Okay, so that is important, and that's a typical structure that we have in English. Now, the verb phrase with the verb to be and ing expresses the continuous aspect, as I said. So the verb to be, auxiliary, plus the ing, this represents the continuous, present continuous, future continuous, or past continuous. A verb with I am, is expresses present continuous, and a verb with was and were expresses the past continuous. No problem. Number 3, the auxiliary verb have and a main verb in the past participle. This is another form, another typical structure of verb phrases. The auxiliary verb to have plus the participle in the past participle. So, for instance, let's look at the examples. First example, they, subject, have enjoyed. Auxiliary verb have in the present plus enjoyed in the past participle. So this is a formula. Remember, the previous formula is the verb to be and the gerund, the ing. The next formula is the verb to have, the auxiliary, plus the participle, have enjoyed. Themselves. This is the reflexive pronoun, themselves. So this structure, this formula, the auxiliary have plus the participle, this is known as the perfect. It's possible the present perfect and it's possible the past perfect. But the perfect is very important, very common. The construction of the perfect is the auxiliary verb have plus the participle. And this is the present perfect because the auxiliary verb is the present and not the past. So the final example, had finished. The auxiliary is in the past, have in the past, had. Finished is the participle. So the final example is the past perfect. So in English, there is a difference between past perfect and present perfect. Present perfect is the period of time in the past is probably finished, but the consequences are very, very relevant and related to the present. So I have finished my breakfast. I have finished my lunch recently. Okay, so that is very important concept of the perfect. But the past, I had finished my breakfast. I had finished my lunch, usually before another action in the past. That is the difference between the present perfect and the past perfect. The past perfect is the period in the past, usually before another action in the past simple. That is the basic difference and explanation between the present perfect and the past perfect. The second example here, everybody has worked hard. Subject, everybody. Auxiliary extra verb have in the present. Participle work in the ed in the past, worked. Hard is possible adjective and possible adverb. Here I think it's the adverb. Hard is the same in the adjective and the same in the adverb. And then the final example is he had finished work. So he is the subject. Had finished is the past perfect before another action typically, and work is the noun or the object. He had finished work before he called his friend. So usually the past perfect is before another action in the past. So this is number 3, and this is another form, another structure of a verb. So the first one is possible the present, the past, the participle. The second is possible the auxiliary to be plus the ing. This is the continuous. And the third example is the auxiliary have plus the participle, and this is considered the perfect, possibly the present perfect, possibly the past perfect. And the continuous, number 2, is possibly present continuous, past continuous, future continuous. Okay, let's read the explanation of the perfect. A verb phrase with have and the past participle expresses the perfect aspect, the perfect tense. This is what I explained. The perfect is when we combine the auxiliary have and the participle. A verb with have and has expresses the present perfect, as I explained. In the present, auxiliary, have, has, plus the participle, this is the present perfect. However, had plus the participle is the past perfect. Next, the fourth structure of a verb could be a modal verb. Okay, and modal verbs are really important because they're very common, and here you can see a lot of verbs that are considered modal verbs. Can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would. These are modal verbs. Can is typical for ability and permission. I can play the piano, it's my ability. I can go to the cinema, I have the permission. So typically for ability and for permission, we use the verb can, the modal verb. Could, may and might are very, very, very similar, practically the same for possibility. I could go to the cinema, it's an option, it's a possibility. I could go to the cinema, I may go to the cinema, I might go to the cinema. All possibilities, all options, and the modal verbs could, may and might are essential, very important to express this idea of possibility and options. Must is obligation. We use must for obligation. I must go to the shop. I must contact my friend. I must read this book. It's obligation and you have no option. You have no choice. It's something you must do. Shall and will are very, very similar. Shall is very formal. I shall go to the cinema. This means I will go to the cinema. It's very formal. It's important to know, and the pronunciation is shall. It's typical in a question also. Shall we watch the television? Shall we go for food? This means will. Okay. Should is a modal verb for situations of recommendation and advice. When you want to recommend something, you should watch this television program. You should contact your friend. You should ask the question. Recommendation, recommendation, and advice. You should visit your friend. It's advice, okay? And that's very, very important. Will and would are also considered a type of modal verb as well. However, the structure is very important because a modal verb is followed by a main verb. So you have a modal verb, and typically next you have a main verb. Okay, so this is very important. A modal verb, can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, plus the main verb. And the main verb, we remove to. Always we remove to after the modal. Okay, so they will come is the subject. The modal verb, or really it's possible the future simple as well. We normally call this the future simple, but they will come. Next, might is the same as could, may, might. Modal verbs for possibilities and options. The subject is he. He might come. And the main verb, the principal verb, is come. Not to come. This is the error. So he might come is correct. He might to come is incorrect. So that's the rule. Important, special rule with the modal. After modal, we have the next verb with no to. That's the most important rule to remember, in my opinion. Okay, exercise time. Time to practice some exercises and test our explanation. So here we have the first question. And the instruction is choose the answer that matches the kind of verb in brackets. Okay, so in this sentence, we have, oh dear, it is raining again, and we need to find the main verb. Okay, so this is very important. We need to find the main verb. Oh dear is similar to oh no, oh terrible. It is raining again. It is the subject. Is the auxiliary verb, and raining is the ing form of the main verb, and again is an adverb of frequency. So that's a very technical explanation, but it is the subject, is the verb in the auxiliary, and raining is the ing form of the main verb. Therefore, this is the present continuous. It is raining at the moment continuously in the present. And that is the explanation. I have an itchy face. I want to itch, I have a very itchy face. Anyway, so what is the main verb? As I said, the main verb probably is raining. Maybe it's my mistake. Maybe it's everything is raining. I'm not sure. Let's check the explanation again before we continue. For number one, for example. So number one, this is the explanation. The auxiliary verb to be and the main verb. So the main verb is the ing. Okay, so I cheated a little and I checked the answer. So the main verb is ing only. Okay, next. We move to the next question. My parents have never been to a foreign country. And we need to identify the main principal verb. My is considered the possessive adjective. My television, my computer, my book, my pen, my table, my bottle. Possessive adjective. Parent is the noun, singular. Parents are the noun, plural, my parents. Here we have the verb to have plus the verb to be plus the adverb never. Okay, preposition to, a is a article, indefinite article. Country is the noun, foreign is the adjective. This is the grammatical explanation of the sentence. My parents have never been to a foreign country. We have the verb to have plus the verb to. If you remember this formula, I think number 2 or number 3, the auxiliary verb have plus the participle verb been. This is considered the perfect. So when you have the auxiliary have plus the participle of the verb, this is considered the perfect. We can create the present perfect or we can create the past perfect. In this situation, it's the present perfect. So have is the auxiliary verb and been is the participle, the past participle form of the main verb. So therefore the correct answer, I think, is been. Okay, it's number 3. I will see you on Thursday. Okay, goodbye. Subject, I. Will is the verb to be and see is the verb to see. So we have 2 verbs. We have will see. You is the object pronoun. On is the preposition for the day, on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. Thursday is the pronunciation. It's very different from Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. A lot of people confuse Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, goodbye. What is the main verb? I is the subject. Will is considered the modal verb, and after the modal verb we have the main verb see. So I think the main verb just is see, and that's it in my opinion. Okay, next question, number 4. Look, somebody's broken this window. We are looking for the auxiliary verb. Look is a verb. Yes, it's a verb, but there is no subject, and there is no subject because it is considered the imperative, and the imperative is an order and an instruction. So only when we have the imperative we have no subject. It's an instruction. Look. Okay, so this isn't the imperative and there's no subject. Somebody is the subject. This contraction is possibly the verb to be or possibly the verb to have. Somebody has broken or somebody is broken this window. Is not possible because normally after is we have the ing form, but there's no ing form here. It's the participle form, the past participle. Therefore this typically is combined with the auxiliary verb have. Therefore the auxiliary verb only is has, because broken is considered the participle form, the past participle form of the main verb. So the auxiliary verb is have. In the present has, but yes, so it is just has. Okay, very important, very good structure, very important to learn the full structures at the beginning. Next, I am not feeling very well. This is the sentence, and we are looking for the auxiliary verb. Subject, I, subject pronoun. The verb to be in the present, I am, the negative, and the ing gerund form of the verb. Very well, well is the adverb, good is the adjective, and well is the adverb. Very is the intensifier for the adverb. So we are looking for the auxiliary verb. The verb to be and the verb to feel, that's the second rule, and this is considered the continuous aspect. So the verb feeling is the main verb in the ing form, and the verb to be is the auxiliary extra verb, so only am. Number 6. Are you planning anything special for your birthday? It's a question. So in the question we change the position of the verb and the subject. because the affirmative, the typical affirmative question, you are planning. This is the affirmative, you are planning. To create the question, we change the position, are you? So we have the verb to be and the verb plan in the main verb in the ing. So the verb to be is considered the auxiliary verb and you is the subject. So the auxiliary verb is are. Okay. Next we have number 7. Have you ever met Linda, Simon's wife? So we are looking for the auxiliary verb, and again it's a question, and the verb is to have and the verb is to meet, and the subject is you, and ever is the adverb, and Linda is the person. Simon's wife, the wife is the possession of Simon in this sentence. So we are looking for the auxiliary verb. Met is the participle, the past participle form, combined with the auxiliary verb to have. Therefore, the auxiliary verb is just have. Okay, let's continue. Next, our daughter could read at the age of 5. We need to identify and to find the modal verb. Our is the possessive adjective, daughter is the noun and the subject, our daughter is the subject, could is the verb, and read is the verb. We have 2 verbs. At is the preposition for time, at 18, for the age, you're at the age of 5. So the modal verb is could. You remember could, may, and might are very similar. They are modal verbs for situations of possibility and options. So also could is the past for ability. Can in the present, could in the past. So our daughter had the ability to read at the age of 5. The modal verb is could and the main verb is read. So could is considered the modal verb. Next. Question. Should I phone you again this afternoon? It's a question. Therefore, we change the position of the subject and the verb. The affirmative is I should phone you this afternoon. That's the affirmative. But the question, we change the position. Therefore, the subject is I, the verb is to phone, the main verb is to phone, and the modal verb is should. We use the modal verb should in situations of recommendation and advice. So it's my recommendation, I should phone you is the object pronoun. Again, is the adverb of frequency. This is considered a demonstrative. This, that, these, those. And afternoon is considered the noun. So we are looking for the modal verb, and the modal verb is only should. Okay, let's continue to the next one. Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, but you're standing on my foot. We are looking for the verb phrase, not the main verb, not the auxiliary verb, the main verb phrase. So again, excuse is a verb, but there is no subject because it's imperative, it's an order, it's an instruction. Me is not the subject, me is the object pronoun. Very important lesson. But is the linker. You are standing, this is the subject, you. The auxiliary, the extra verb to be, you are. Stand is the main verb in the ing or the gerund form. So this is the present continuous. On is the preposition, my foot. My is the possessive adjective. Foot is the noun. Remember, foot is irregular in the plural, 1 foot, 2 feet. So we are looking for the verb phrase. Remember, the verb is to be and to stand. This is considered the present continuous. So I think the phrase is are standing. The full combination of the 2 verbs, I think, is the verb phrase, in my opinion. I hope you have a similar idea, or maybe you have a different opinion. 2 more questions. I can speak German pretty well, and we are looking for the verb phrase. I is the subject. I, you, he, she, subject pronoun. Can is the verb for ability and permission. and speak also is a verb. Can is the modal verb and speak is the main verb. So I can speak. German is the object pronoun. Pretty is the mitigator. Remember the difference between intensifier and mitigator. Well is the adverb. The adjective is good, but the corresponding adverb is well. So the mitigator for the adverb is pretty. So it's reducing the intensity of the adverb. So we are looking for the verb phrase. Again, can is the modal and speak is the main verb, but the verb phrase is can speak. Last question. We've always wanted to visit Rajasthan in India. We've always wanted to visit Rajasthan in India, and we're looking for the verb phrase. We is the subject, have is the verb, always is the adverb of frequency, want is the verb in the past participle form, to visit is the infinitive form, and Rajasthan is the object. In India is also the object as well. So we're looking for the verb phrase, and the verb phrase is have wanted. I would suggest have wanted to visit, but no, it's not an option, so only have wanted. So it's possible we have some mistake, it's possible we have some errors, but let's check the answers. Excellent, 12 from 12, very good. So that's a very interesting exercise. We can close this. And the second phrase, the second exercise is just remembering the last activity. So this exercise is only revision for the previous exercise, so it's not going to be done today. We do not do this today. Next, we move to level intermediate. Again, if you have a question, put the question here in the chat. Good morning, Borak. Thank you so much for your comment. And again, if yeah, thank you, Borak. Good morning. I hope you are enjoying this lesson in Letterkenny, and thank you for your comment as well. Okay, let's move to level intermediate. And we started with the basic level, and now let's move to level intermediate. The auxiliary verbs have and been, you remember the auxiliary verb, have and been, and a main verb in the ing form. So this is more complicated, definitely more complicated. So let me explain this table. Everybody has been working hard. Everybody is the subject pronoun. The auxiliary verb is the verb to be in the present perfect form. So the auxiliary verb is the verb to be in the perfect, if you remember that explanation. So I repeat, the auxiliary verb is to be in the form of the perfect. In this case, it's the present perfect. Working is the main verb in the ing form. And hard is considered adjective, but also it's considered adverb. And in this situation, I think it's the adverb. Okay, technically, I think this is maybe the present perfect continuous. I think the title of that form is the present perfect continuous, very advanced. Okay, next. He had been singing. He is the subject. The auxiliary verb is the verb to be in the perfect, in the past perfect. He had been, and the main verb is sing in ing. He had been singing. Okay, so that is the sentence. He had been singing, and this is considered the past perfect continuous. So let's look at the explanation, which is very similar to my explanation. A verb phrase with have been and the ing form expresses both perfect tenses and continuous tense. So in this sentence, have been plus the ing, this you can see the perfect and the continuous. Remember, as I said, the perfect, have been, and the continuous, because you need the verb to be. A verb with have, has expresses the present perfect continuous. So the name is the present perfect continuous if the auxiliary is in the present, or it's the past perfect continuous if the auxiliary is in the past, as I said. So that is the explanation. That's important structure. Very important structure in English. Number 6, a modal verb So this is the verb structure number 6. It's possible lots of different structures of verbs. A modal verb and the auxiliaries be, have, and have been. Wow. So again, a modal verb, for example, will, and the auxiliary be, have, and have been. So the 3 possible auxiliaries. Let's look at the table. They will be listening. They is the subject, will is the modal, be is the auxiliary or the main, well, no, sorry, be is the auxiliary, and listen is the main verb. So this possibly is the future simple also. However, will is considered a modal verb. They will be listening. So this is the verb will in the modal, the auxiliary to be, plus the listening, ing. When you have the verb to be in the auxiliary plus the ing, this is considered a continuous aspect. And will is the future or the modal. So I think this is the future continuous. Yes, I think that's the future continuous. The next example, he might have arrived. He is the subject, might is the modal, might, could, may. Have is connected with the next verb, therefore have is an auxiliary verb, and arrived is the past participle of the main verb. When you have the auxiliary have plus the past participle, this is considered the perfect. Have is in the present, therefore this is considered the present perfect with the modal. So I think this is maybe just the present perfect with the modal. Okay, next. She must have been listening. Very, very complicated structure, but very important, very good English. She is the subject, must is the modal verb, obligation, there is no doubt. Have been is considered the auxiliary verb before the main part of the verb in the ing. Have been listening, so she must have been listening. That's very, very difficult, but very important structures. So maybe you need to review this page again and you need to study this page yourself to try and understand very, very well. Number 7, this is interesting as well. Number 7, the auxiliary verb to be and the main verb in the past participle is another possible structure. So let's look at the table here. English is spoken all over the world. English is the subject, is connected with spoken. Speak is the main verb in the past participle form. It's irregular. Speak, spoke, spoken. Spoken is the past participle, and the verb to be is the auxiliary. In the present, all over the world is the object of the sentence, I think. Okay, so in fact, this formula with the verb to be and the past participle is considered a passive. This is a very important verbal tense called the passive, and that is the formula with the auxiliary verb to be and the past participle. That's called the passive in English. You remember the previous structure with the auxiliary verb to be and the ing was considered the continuous, but this is the second possibility with the auxiliary verb to be, but we combined with the past participle, and this is considered the passive. Next, the windows have been cleaned. So the windows is probably the subject, have been is considered the auxiliary of the verb to be in the present perfect, and cleaned is considered the main verb in the ed in the past participle. So the windows have been cleaned again. This is called the passive, and it's the present perfect of the passive, I think. Next, lunch is the subject or the, well, I think in fact it's possibly the object of the active, but that's more complicated. But for the moment, this is the subject. Was being is the verb to be in the past continuous, but it's connected to serve, therefore it's the auxiliary. And serve is the main verb in the past participle. So this is the past continuous in the passive. The work in this example is the subject, but in the active it's the subject, so probably here it's the object. Will be is the verb to be in the future, or the modal connected to the main verb finish, and finish is in the past participle. Soon is the adverb of time, so the work will be finished soon, and this is considered the passive in the future simple, or a modal. Ooh, look at this one. They might have been invited to the party. They is the subject. Might have been is connected to the main verb invite, so might have been is the auxiliary verb in the present perfect with the modal plus the past participle, and this is considered the passive of the present perfect. I think to the party is the object, or the subject, well, the object in the sentence. I'm going to sneeze. No. No. Excuse me. Okay, so that is very important explanation. And excuse me, as you can see, a verb phrase with be and the past participle expresses the passive voice. So the passive voice is very, very important. Let's look at the exercises for number 3. Okay, and the instruction is choose the answer that matches the kind or type of verb in the brackets. It's the same type of instruction. Okay. Douglas has been working very long hours lately. We need to identify the main verb. Douglas is the subject. The verb is to have. The verb is to be. The verb is to work. We have 3 different verbs. We see the verb to be in the perfect form. If you remember, when you have the auxiliary have plus the past participle, this is considered the perfect. However, this is all considered the auxiliary connected to the verb work. Work is in the ing, therefore the main verb is working. Okay, and that's my opinion. Lately is the adverb, meaning recently, and hours is the noun, and long is the adjective, and very is the intensifier. Let's move to the second one. You should have gone to the doctor straight away. We need to find the main verb. You is the subject pronoun. Should is the modal for advice and recommendation. Have is another verb. Gone is another verb to go. To is the preposition connected with go. That is the article, definite article. Doctor is the noun. Straight away is the adverb of time, and straight away has the significance immediately. We need to find the main verb. So the verb is the modal, and the verb is the to have plus the verb to go. So have gone is the present perfect. So have is the auxiliary, and go is the past participle. So this is the present perfect. So go is the main verb, and gone is the main verb. Okay, next. This flat hasn't been properly cleaned for months. Months. We look for the main verb. Flat is the same as apartment. This is considered demonstrative. This, that, these, those. It's a demonstrative or a determiner. And flat is the noun, the apartment. So this flat has not been properly cleaned. We have the verb to have. In the negative, has not. We have the verb to be. Properly is the adverb, like correctly, and the next verb is clean. So we have 3 different verbs. For is the preposition, and months is the noun for a long time, I think, or maybe an adverb of time, or maybe frequency. So the verb is to have, to be, and to clean. We have the verb to be in the past participle, and when you have the past participle with the verb to have, this is considered the perfect. This is considered the present perfect, and in fact this total is the auxiliary connected to clean. Clean is in the past participle, so the main verb is clean, cleaned only. The verbal phrase is hasn't been cleaned, but the main verb is just cleaned. Number 4. The police told me that my friend was being taken to hospital. Very, very interesting sentence. We need to find the auxiliary verbs, plural. So the police is the subject or the object. The verb is to tell. It's irregular in the past simple. Tell, told. And the third past participle is also told. Me is the object pronoun. That is the relative pronoun. My is the possessive adjective. Friend is the noun. Was is the verb to be. Being is the verb to be. Taken is the verb to take. So we have 3 verbs. The verb to be, and the verb to take. So was being is the ing form, and it's connected with the verb to be in the past. When you have this formula of the verb to be in the past plus the ing, that's the continuous. So that's the past continuous, but total, this is connected to the verb to take, and taken is the past participle combined with the past continuous. So the auxiliary is was being. So that is the past continuous in the passive voice. And the auxiliary verbs are was being. Let's move to number 5. I've been thinking about a change of career for some time. And we need to find the auxiliary verb. Subject is I. The verb is have. The verb is to be. And the verb is to think. We have 3 verbs in this situation. The verb to be is in the participle. The past participle combined with the verb to have as the auxiliary is considered the present perfect normally. But in this situation, in total, these 2 verbs are connected also to think in the ing. And when you have the verb to be with the ing, it's considered the continuous. So this is the present perfect continuous. And the auxiliary verb is have. The auxiliary verbs are have been. Okay. Number 6. I realized that my credit card had been stolen. And we need the auxiliary verbs. I is the subject. The verb is to realize in the past simple. I realized. That is the relative pronoun. My is the possessive adjective. Credit card is the noun. Had been stolen. We have 3 verbs. The verb to have, the verb to be, and the verb to steal. And the verb to be is in the past participle plus the auxiliary verb to have in the past. Therefore, this is considered the past perfect. Had been is the past perfect plus the participle in the past perfect. Sorry, the past participle. So we can see the past perfect with the past participle. And this combination is the verb to be plus the past participle. And this is considered the passive voice when you have the verb to be plus the participle. Therefore, that's the past perfect in the passive voice. So that's the past perfect in the passive voice. And we are looking for the auxiliary verbs only. The main verb is to steal, so the auxiliary verbs are had been. Next, we are looking for the modal verb will be writing. We will be writing to you with our decision sometime next week. We is the subject pronoun. Will be is normally the future simple, but will is the auxiliary verb with the main verb be, and writing is another verb in the ing. When you have the verb to be in a form with the ing, this is considered the continuous. So this is the future continuous. with the preposition to, object pronoun you, preposition with, our possessive adjective, decision is the noun, sometime is the adverb of frequency, next is the adjective, and week is the noun. We need to find the modal verb. The modal verb is only will, because be is the main verb, but also it's a auxiliary verb. So I think the answer only is will. Next, 5 more. Lorena must have been really happy to see her sister again after all this time. We need to identify the modal verb. Lorena is the subject, must is a verb, have is a verb, and be is a verb. So we have 3 verbs again. We have the verb have plus the verb to be. The verb to be is in the participle, have is in the auxiliary, and must is the modal. Really is the intensifier, and happy is the adjective. So really, really happy, the intensifying adjective. The infinitive to see, her is the possessive adjective, sister is the noun, again is an adverb of frequency, after is a preposition, all this time. All, I think, maybe is a type of adjective. This is a demonstrative, and time is the noun. So the modal verb is must, I think. Well, definitely, because it's the best option from the 3. Next, we continue to the next question. And we have honey has been used as a medicine for thousands of years. We need the verb phrase, not the auxiliary, not the modal, not the participle, not the ing, not the main verb. We need the verb phrase. It's different. So honey is the subject or the object. The verb is to have, to be, and to use. We have 3 different verbs. The verb to be is in the participle, the past participle, plus the auxiliary verb have. This is considered the present perfect because has is the present, so this is the present perfect. But it's connected to the verb to use. So has been, all is the auxiliary verbs, and used is the main verb. And used is in the past participle. So has been used, I think, is the verb phrase. All the verbs together, that is the verb phrase. Next. We have been looking for a taxi for nearly an hour. We need to find the verb phrase. We is the subject, have is a verb, be is a verb, and look is a verb. For is a preposition, taxi is the noun, and a is an indefinite article. For is a preposition, nearly is an adverb of time, and is the article for the noun hour. It's an because the sound of the noun, the initial sound, is of a vowel. So we need to find the verbal phrase. Okay, so have been looking. Looking is the ing form, connected with the verb to be. Therefore, this is the continuous, the present continuous, but we have also the present perfect. So altogether, it's the present perfect continuous, and the verb phrase is have been looking. 2 more. In November, we'll have been living in this house for 10 years. We need to find the verb phrase. In is the preposition. November is the month or the noun. Subject, we. Will have been living. We have 4 different verbs. The verb will, to be, the verb to have, the verb to be, and the verb to live. So live is probably the main verb in the ing, and it's connected with the verb to be. So this could be the continuous present, but the verb to be is conjugated with the verb to have in the past participle plus the auxiliary. Therefore, this is probably the present perfect continuous. But we have the modal verb will. So the verb phrase, I think, is will have been living all together. It's the modal with the present perfect continuous. difficult. And then the final question. People should have been warned earlier about the new tax regulations. We need to find the verb phrase, not auxiliary, not ing, not past participle, not the modal, not the auxiliary. We need the verb phrase. So people is the subject, should is the modal, have is another verb, be is another verb, and warn is another verb. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 verbs. Earlier is the comparative adjective, about is the preposition, that is the article for the noun regulations, new is the adjective, and tax regulations is an adjective, a noun, or two nouns, I'm not sure. So we need to find the verb phrase. Should is the modal, have been is the present perfect, and warned is the past participle with the verb to be. So this is considered the passive. So this is the present perfect in the passive voice. And the full verbal phrase is should have been warned. Yes. And it's possible I have some mistakes, definitely, but I think they are my best answers. So let's select the finish button. 12 from 12. Very good. Very nice. Okay, so that is the third exercise. And the fourth exercise is just repetition. Can you remember? It's just revision and repetition of the previous exercise. It's good for you to try this maybe at home. Okay. Now we can use the auxiliaries do and did. So this is level advanced. We can use the auxiliaries do and did with the infinitive for emphasis. So do and did are very common in English auxiliary verbs with the infinitive verb, the base, for emphasis. For example, it was a wonderful party. I did enjoy it. It is the subject. The verb is to be in the past simple. It was. Party is the noun. A is the article, indefinite article connected to the party. Wonderful is the adjective. I is the subject. Enjoy is the verb. And it is the object, the party. So I enjoy it, but it's the past. So I did enjoy it. We have two possibilities. The first possibility is I enjoyed, in the past simple, I enjoyed it. But if you want to emphasize that you enjoyed it really, we create the auxiliary verb do in the past, did, and always after the auxiliary do or did, we have the infinitive. That's a very, 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 very important rule that will repeat again and again every day in English. Next, I do agree with you. I think you are absolutely right. So the subject I, the verb agree in the present, with is the preposition, and you is the object pronoun. So I agree with you in the present, but for emphasis, we add an auxiliary verb do in the present. I do agree with you. Emphasis. I think, so subject, verb, think in the present simple. You is the subject of the new clause. Are is the verb to be. Absolutely is the adverb. And right is the adjective. You are absolutely right. So there is a second possibility for this sentence. For emphasis, I do agree with you. I do think you are absolutely right. So little intensifying for the emphasis. We can also use do for polite invitations. So the auxiliary verb do for polite invitations. For example, come is a verb with no subject. Remember, when there is no subject, it's an imperative, an order, an instruction. So come and see us. It's an order, an instruction. Sometime. That's the adverb, I think. But the key here is the extra auxiliary verb do, and this really is for polite invitations. The next example. There will be lots of people there. Do bring your friends. So subject there. Will be is the future simple or the modal plus the infinitive. Lots of is a quantifier. People is one person in plural, two people. So there will be lots of people there in that place. Bring your friends. Again, there's no subject because it's an instruction, an order, imperative. Bring. Your is the possessive adjective. Friends is the noun in the plural. But it's polite invitation, so do bring your friends. Okay. Excellent. That's a very, very, very good lesson today. Perfect. 1 hour. Perfect. So we finished with level advanced, with do and did for emphasis. We looked at the verb to be in the past participle with the passive. We looked at the auxiliary verb be and the main verb in the past participle. And this is the passive as well. Yeah. And we looked at the modal verb with have been. Okay, so we had lots and lots of different structures, and we had level intermediate, auxiliary verb, have and been with a main verb in the ing. So that's the present perfect continuous or the past perfect continuous. Very, very important. And then we also had the modal verb, and we had here auxiliary verb have and the past perfect, that is the present perfect. And we had the present continuous or past continuous, and we also had the present simple or past simple. Okay, so this lesson is excellent, and it's very good for beginners, it's very good for intermediate, and it's very good for advanced. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I hope it was clear. I hope that you benefited a little, and I hope that you can review that page again. Tomorrow we continue with another topic. So tomorrow we continue with another verb topic, and the topic tomorrow is irregular verbs. So if you want to prepare for tomorrow, I suggest you look at this page today and prepare your questions and prepare for tomorrow's lesson if you want. That will be the topic for tomorrow. This is my schedule this week. You can see all my plans, and today is Wednesday. So I have the proficiency lesson at 11 o'clock and another lesson at 1 o'clock and a writing lesson at 3 o'clock. So different lessons today. And that's my schedule that hopefully you can attend. I've 23 free lessons. 23. I'm giving 23 lessons this week on Facebook Live. So I hope you can join some of them. Everything is free, but if you can support me, this will help me a lot. So I'm asking you to be generous and to help me if you can, especially if you are enjoying the content. I really need your support, and I hope that you can help me. And the way to help me is to make a subscription, and all the information is here. You can make a subscription with the bank, monthly subscription, your choice, your decision. €1, €2 per month, 5, 10, 20 euro per month, and you can cancel when you want, but it will help me to make this project successful. So I hope you can consider this option, and you can maybe create a subscription for me. But as I said, you can cancel when you want, but it will be a good commitment for you, and it will help me as well to continue this project. So I hope that you can consider this and you can help me with this subscription. If you have a question, you can contact me and ask me if you have a doubt in relation to this. The second possibility is with PayPal. So you go to my website and you can see the principal post, and you can see here the information and the link. So if you want to make the subscription with PayPal, you press the link, and the link brings you to my page with the information and the button to press. So simply press the button and enter your details, and this is a way to support me. Great, I hope that you can do that, and if you have a question, please ask me any questions that you have. Excellent. So thank you so much. I hope that you have a very good afternoon, and I hope that you enjoy your day, and thank you so much. Finally, any questions, you can ask your questions here. I don't see anything at the moment, so perfect. So Rania, hello Rania, and Borak, thank you so much. I hope that you are enjoying the lesson, and I appreciate your comments. I appreciate the interaction, and thank you, Borak, and thank you, Rania, and have a very good day. And hopefully you will see the next lessons on the Facebook Live page. Thank you so much, and talk to you soon. Bye.